Hey yo, G Dash, boy, take your hat off. Fine. This week on Hats Off with G Dash Jones. Woo! What we doing? Hold up. Hats off. Y'all know what we doing. I'm starting off. I got Hezekiah. We rock it out. You know, Hezekiah bopping. Shouts out to I'm Forever Growing. Go check that out. That's the opening vibes for Hats Off for G Dash Jones. That was Hezekiah. I'm Forever Growing. Such a vibe. You know what I'm saying? Go check that out. A Sappington. Alright. This episode of Hats Off with G Dash Jones. Listen, we got a friend of mine. Dare I say a friend? Yes. But you may know him because he is an expert at live events and extraordinaire with live production, music production, engineering, sound, build stages, does all those things. He's also a mental health advocate, spiritual health advocate, does those things. And then he also has recently became the vice president of the Wilmington JayCees. What? Yes. He goes by the name of Drake Corbett, and I will be bringing him up in just a moment. Also, just so you all know, to listen, check me out every Thursday at 8:30. It's gonna be 8:30. Let me clarify that. It's 8:30 because I'm doing a couple other things. So every Thursday at 8:30, check me out. Hats Off with G Dash Jones, and look out for my post. Here's your schedule for the week, or G Dash update your calendar, where I give you kind of a run through of all of the things that are up and coming for the week in the poetry form. It's only a minute 30 reel, so go and check it out so you can see what's happening, where you should go, what you should get into, within the week. All right. With that said, now I'm going to bring up my man, my mellow Dre Corbett, right? So he can kind of tell us not only about his journey into production. He done put on festivals, right, of his own, as well. He done had between the festivals. He done did a bunch of different. So he recently performed himself. Locked down the stage at what was called Oddity. Now it's called Icons. He does all types of different things, and like I said, I'm interested to kind of learn not only about him, but we're also going to talk about the vision of the Wilmington JayCees. Like, what is that, right? Like, and how does that work? To help the people. So that's a fact. So we're gonna get him up here. We're gonna kind of talk about all of the things that helps Dre be Dre to help the community. Mm. He started his own men's group, right? We're gonna talk about that too. I forgot about that. Yes, where he had a bunch of men kind of shedding their feelings and connecting and growing as people. There it is. So, like I said, we're gonna kind of touch on all the things. A second, I can bring him up. Yeah, let me see. There it is. Now, and while that's up and coming, things I need the world to pay attention to. Uh, so, oh, there it is. My man, how you
I'm
feeling?
feeling good, man. How are you?
Listen, I'm here with you. What you mean? Anytime I got the man, the myth, the Drake Corbett on my screen, it feels amazing. So, oh man, so I've been the world needs to learn about who Drake Corbett is. Dre has been around. I've known you for over a decade now.
Yeah, man.
Wow, I feel that's crazy.
Yep.
So let's dive in. Let's let the world get to know you. So from the gate, let's start off. Tell people a little bit about yourself.
Oh man, where do I begin? You and I met quite some time ago. Back, I was 17 years old. That had to been at least 17, 18 years ago when you and I met at Mr. Grayson's studio. I guess that was Choice Media back in the day, and I was the engineer there. And you were there also helping with G. So that's how you and I met. That's how long you and I have known each other. And I started off working in studios at that age. I was recording probably since I was 14 years old, and I was one of the youngest engineers, working professionally as an engineer here in the state for a very long time. And I guess from engineering, I went to live sound and photography, videography, streaming until I got into the full just just being able to run the whole production.
So back up. Being that young, how did you get into engineering? Was it just like playing around? How did you wind up there?
I got into engineering. Well, there was two friends of mine that I had that when I was really young I looked up to. One is my friend Montega Dunn, who you've met before, and my other friend Nate Nizzi, who has passed away. And both of them, they were recording and they had studios in their houses, and I would, as I would just be at their houses and trying to figure out, well, how to record and stuff. So Dunn, he was in his lab teaching me how to splice things and how to sample, and Nate was showing me the Fruity Loops. And in high school I had a group of other guys that was with me, and we were Dark Hill, and I mixed a lot of our music. We had another guy, so I just I was when I was young, I always was kind of doing it. I was one of the only guys that was recording and mixing, and so uh, that's and also I was working up at Wonderland Records. Dimitri, he owns Wonderland up on Main Street, and I was doing an internship there. So he's one of the best engineers that I know. As far as mastering, he's probably the best mastering engineer that I know. And so yeah, I was just always kind of just doing it, and yeah, that's where we are.
So okay, right. So you're, like I said, I knew you back then. I remember Engineer Dre, it always in the studio, cranking things out, breaking things down.
Yeah.
And somehow you shifted into being live production, stage hand, stage builder, right? It was like a thing. So what made you, can you take us through the journey from kind of living in studio doing it and saying, nah, let's do this outside sound? Because everybody who does engineering can't, or does indoor production cannot do outside production. So how'd you wind up, what was that journey like?
So ironically, it started off because one of my friends, his name is Colby Wall. He's a local drummer around here. He also is a sound tech. He works for Jam as well. But he kept on coming up to me, telling me, I'm going to start this sound business. I'm going to start a sound company. And you know how people are when they say they're going to do something. Like everybody's got all kind of dreams and aspirations. Like, is somebody actually going to follow through? It's most likely no, but it was one of those type of situations. He's like, I'm going to start a sound company, and he talked about it for months and months. And one day he's like, I got us a sound job. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I go with him to do the sound job, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, this is my first time doing anything live like this. Like I haven't really been to many concerts, so it was just like the whole experience was pretty fun and pretty cool to me. And I realized that a lot of the stuff that I had done in the studio, it did somewhat translate to the live sound stuff, and I just knew that I needed to learn more. And the guy that we had got the job from, his name was Tom Watson. And I noticed that Colby, like as we're doing the job, he's going up to Tom and he's asking him questions, and Tom is breaking stuff down. And I'm like, okay, and I'm watching, and I'm like, okay, uh, it seems like this Tom guy is the one who actually knows what's going on. So, I go to him, and he's this old white guy, and I'm just me. And I walk up to him. I'm like, hey, dude, like, I really appreciate you letting me work for you for today. I work in a studio and I got this kind of experience, but I really want to learn this. And it seems like you know it really well. And I was like, can I work for you? Can you train me? And can I work for you? Just straight up went up and asked him. And he looked at me and he just laughed right in my face.
Yeah.
He laughed directly in my face. But after he was done laughing, he said, "Yes, yes, I will train you, and yes, you can work for me."
Wow. That is so entertaining. Well, okay. So he laughed at you, but the laughter came with a yes. It was
Yes,
a yes
yes, it
laugh.
turned in, it turned
Okay.
into a yes. And so, and I'm not gonna lie, like that was a really interesting time in my life. I had just gotten arrested for selling drugs and doing a bunch of stuff. Uh, and so I was looking for a change in direction. I had spent my first extended amount of time in jail, and I was like, you know what, I can't continue down this path. So I kind of needed something. Like I needed to figure out some way to make some money, and I had already tattooed my face. And by the time I had tattooed my face, I consciously made that decision that if like once I do this, no one's gonna hire me. Like I was like, I have to,
Back up. I have to ask this question because now once we make conscious decisions that end in our brain with being unhireable, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you come out of that decision? Like, how did you like? Oh man, now I want a job. Like, how did that change?
So, well, because I noticed that I've been kind of focusing on a music career for majority of my life, and every time I started to kind of get into a swing and gain some momentum, I would money would start to get low, like finances would start to get kind of messed up, and I would go and get a job, and then I go get a job, and I would very much excel at that job. Like any job that I had, I was gonna, I usually got sales jobs because sales is my background. So, I'm just going in there. I'm always top salesman. I'm always just like killing it. You know what I mean? Like, so I realized that, I'm putting all of this effort into other companies and making, progress for other people and not for myself. And at some point I just said, on top of other things with my mental health that I was going through, it seemed like the path of least resistance. I know that might sound kind of weird, but at the moment, it was it appeared to be the only alternative, the only logical alternative. So that's the path that I ended up going.
I get it. So essentially, for you, when you put the tats on the face, the theory was if I tattoo my face and I become inhirable, then the plan is I'll have to work for myself. I'll have to now dedicate the same energy into me because I won't have any other option.
That was the plan until I ended up where I am now, still working for other people.
Kind of. You also have people working for you, but we'll get to that. So, okay. With that said, and that's something that I actually want to just highlight real quick. There's nothing wrong with working for other people.
No, it's not.
If you're getting to do
No, it's not.
what you love, and even if you do contract work, even if you're an entrepreneur, you typically have a product or a service that you're offering to someone else,
right?
And they're going to pay for it, and you're going to work for them with that product.
You're always working for somebody else, unless you're the one that's buying your own product. you're always working for somebody else essentially, and I didn't get that back then, but now I'm at peace with it because that's where it's at. You get clients, you work for those clients.
Yes. Okay, so now you all tatted up, you go to see Tom, you say, hey, teach me how to do what you do. Tom says, ha ha ha. You say, you wait patiently, and then he says, sure. Right. Okay, so how did it turn from that to it being somewhat of a lifelong career, you being a part of the union, you kind of getting into live production in a whole different way to where it's going to be sustainable?
So I'm doing live sound. I'm working with Tom, and I'm working at the Naughty Goose. So I'm the house sound tech at the Naughty Goose. So the cool thing about getting to be a house sound tech at any popular venue is you get to meet so many musicians. So I was not in the field at all. Like, I was kind of like, I knew some rappers, but like I didn't know any musicians at all. And I got to meet a new band almost like every single week. I was meeting new bands, new members, and so I was like I was getting a lot of experience, learning how to work the board, getting to see, like the process of live sound, and just who's doing what, in who, like, okay, so it's like, all right, understanding the circuit and who's who, and just seeing, okay, this is the guy for that and this is the guy for that. And I did that for a long time, and then I started getting up my skills. I was able to do more like corporate stuff, more weddings, and and that kind of stuff. And as that time is growing, I'm growing my clientele. I'm meeting more musicians. I'm getting to understand what these guys got going on outside of their bands. Like sometimes, all right, well, I'm in one band, but I'm also in 3 other bands. So like, I'm just like, I'm getting my face out there, and people are getting to see, okay, like this guy, he's a sound tech, and he's pretty cool. So, I'm doing that, and that's pretty much from being from working at the Naughty Goose and just starting to do some weddings and corporate stuff. I start to get all the skills and the resources that I need to continue growing and getting more skills to do more stuff in the production. Later on, I end up joining the stagehand union. So now I'm a stagehand. I'm just showing up to these venues, the Playhouse and the Chase Center and stuff like that. Some stuff it actually started in like the Santana Arena in Reading, and I did a lot of work in Reading and Philly for a while, working in arenas and all of this stuff. And as I'm working in these arenas and these theaters and these like these centers and stuff, like just these big places where it takes 100 stagehands to build the set for these things. Like I start to really gain an appreciation for what it takes for a production. Like when somebody goes to see a show, they go there, they get their ticket, they sit down, they go see the show, and they enjoy it. But they don't know that it's 50 to 100 stagehands coming in, working for 8 hours, setting all of this stuff up, and you got all these different positions. You got lighting, you got electrical, you got sound, you got uh, riggers, you got like tons and tons of guys coming together to put this production together. It's huge, and I used to always wonder, like, well, wow, damn, like why does it cost all of this money for your artist to book an artist? And it's like, well, you see what goes into the production, you quickly start to understand where all that comes into. So I'm year after year I'm starting to get my feet more into the door of the entertainment world, and I'm getting to do things at larger and larger scales. So my perspective is just broadening, and I'm soaking up information. I'm making a lot of connections, and I guess I've been giving people a genuine experience when they meet me. I make these long time connections, so I've been able to go back and some of the people that we work with, bring them together in other jobs and connect them with other people that I know and stuff. So like after doing this, it's been 8 years now since I started working with Tom, and 8 years later, almost a decade later, I can now do this full time. This is what I do on a regular basis, whether I'm doing live sound or recording somebody or doing staging, setting up stages. I got a couple contracts where I just send guys just to set up their stage. Sometimes I don't even have to go. So yeah, after all of this time, I ended up in a nice spot that I never thought that I would ever be at.
That is phenomenal. That is inspiring, and it really connects to people, right? So well, I have to ask you this because I'm curious. Was there a moment that hit where you were like, I could kind of do this for the rest of my day? Like as long as I can always do this. This is something I don't ever mind doing, and I always can do it. And how did you know you were at that point where you found something that you could always do if necessary?
Uh, like the first time I got paid like $1,000 to go play with sound. I love doing sound. I love manipulating sound. That's my favorite thing to do. Like the moment where I got to go, and I didn't even have to work a full 8 hours. I got to get paid a significant amount of money for what I love to do, and then some days some weekends I just end up, I don't know, like, you ever show up somewhere, get paid to do what you love, and then it's like, I don't, like, at that point, it's like, this is what I'm doing. Like, like this is it right here.
It's literally the moment where you're like, oh, you gonna pay me this to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not doing nothing else. If I can get paid this to do that, I'm only gonna do this. Why would I do this?
And that's when I noticed, I was like, yeah, like, I'm only doing what I want for money. And then there was another moment in my life where I started to complain about work. Like, I was getting tired of doing weddings. But I was like, man, like, how convenient that you get to complain about not wanting to do work that you love to do. Just like, this is, I love the entertainment business. I have, like, my ear is like, that's my thing. Like, some people are like, really smart, like book smart, or like really strong and tall, or something. Like, I have a good ear. Like, that's what I'm good at. That's what I have. That's my advantage. So that's where I get to capitalize my skill. If I was like a good basketball player or something like that, um, it would be like someone's dream to get to play on a team, like, so they can take their skills and display them, like, so for when clients, every time a client hires me for a job, I get to go and display my skill, which makes me feel fulfilled, and it makes me feel like I have purpose.
Listen, I love that. I love you, that fulfilled feeling, that purpose. And that brings me to my next thought, right? So, all right, now I've known you for a long time. So I've known, and if people don't know you, they don't really know the things that you've done for others or the things that you care about to do for others. And it gets deep. You know what I mean? Like, and literally they have to know you, because it's not something that you'll mention. You don't throw it up and people you don't mention, but you provided beds to people who didn't have a place to sleep at the time. You made sure that people could eat that did not have a means. Yo, come on. Like, literally, you provided just on the look for folks. Even at times for folks you ain't even fool with. You figure it out. Like, you go, I got you. You know what I'm saying? And in that spirit, you came up with even creating a men's group, right? To have, and it was primarily black men that were a part of it, but
It was
to
all
give us
it
a
was all
place to.
black men. It
Okay,
was
all
for
right.
black men.
Listen, Black History Month is upon us. So, so with that said, where we were kind of vulnerable, be sharing. That's where I met Dunn. And I've seen him before then, but that he was there. It was a lot. Swerve was a part of it. It was a dope room to be in. Now, and my question to you: what made you kind of look to help others so much, and especially through mental health and spiritual health, and like why was that a focus of yours?
Okay, uh, so so for the, like you said, I don't really talk about the spiritual aspect of my life all the time. So it's not like regular conversation, typically, because I realize that people don't really want to hear about it. So, I'm not here to force anything down anybody's throat that they're not interested in. But I have spent my entire life kind of on this path, on this journey of spirituality, and I've had the pleasure of being able to help people walk them through, learning how to forgive, learning how to maneuver through energy, and, just manifestation and mental alchemy type of things. I have a very huge passion in teaching the world these things. Um, this me dealing with a lot of mental health stuff all the time. Growing up, it was worse. Even now today, still having my struggles. But I will say I've devoted a great deal of my attention throughout my life into feeling better about my own life. And everybody's out here playing the masquerade game, like they're just everybody seems like they're doing okay, and everybody's not doing as okay as they all seeming, and I realized that a long time ago, because I was the best at pretending and hiding and just like, being unauthentic, going out in the world and presenting somebody that is happy and confident when I was not those things. So I realized that, even doing some of the work that I do now, I'm in some very some heavy rooms with some heavy hitters. And you get into these rooms with these people and you realize they have the same personality defects as everybody else. Like, you know, it's sometimes it's not something that you just grow out of. So and you know, like the average person that's, you know, like let's say like the average black person, you know, it's the average black man, because you know we're talking about the group for the black men. The reason why this group was specifically for black men is because as being a black man, I know how it is. It's like when you go out into the world, you're not even allowed to smile really, you know? And you know, you're not allowed to show any type of vulnerability or anything like that. And I have been punished from showing vulnerability to other black people. You know, like when I was a kid, I used to get beat up sometimes for being vulnerable. So I get it. I know, I understand like our unique struggle. So that's why I put that group in place for us, so we can discuss these things and be like, look, man, like there ain't nobody here to judge us or to make us feel bad about feeling bad, because we all do. Like there's all things that we're going through, and we deserve to be able to talk about it as well. You know, it's like I fortunately I grew up with a whole bunch of different types of friends, so I got lots of different perspectives. But I will say a lot of my my white friends, they they all had therapists. Like, and some of them were forced to go to therapy. Like their parents would make them go. You know what I mean? And a lot of my black friends, not even a lot of my black friends, it was none of us talked about it. So even if any of my black friends went to therapy, I didn't even know, because we didn't talk about feelings and shit. Like that just, it just never was a thing. So, you know, it was a amazing opportunity to bring these men together and for us to have those discussions and to really see, like, my favorite thing about the group was to watch in real time people's perspectives change, and for people to, I don't know if you remember when we did the affirmations, and when we recorded the affirmations, and I watched people's body language. I watched their posture change as they recorded these affirmations, and that was a very powerful experience for me and for them as well. So yes, that's kind of, I don't know. I'm sorry. I know I get a little
No,
long-winded
no, no,
sometimes.
no, no. That was perfect. But I want to know. You said that was impactful for you. How would you say that creating that men's group affected you? Like I get how it helped everybody else, including me. Like it was a very safe space to pour. But how did that impact you?
Well, it impacted me a lot because the most interesting thing about that group is my own a lot of my own personal trauma comes from the black community. You know, just how they have treated me as I was growing up. You know, I was a very different person, and I was into different things. So a lot of why I felt like I had to be unauthentic was to fit in with my other black peers. And so it's actually a healing process for me as well, to get to be vulnerable around my fellow black men that I would have most likely been intimidated by growing up. And it's just, I don't know. It's one of those double-edged sword type of situations where, you know, like they're getting a lot out of it, but I'm also getting a lot out of it, and getting to share, and you know, and just getting to share perspectives, and you realize that you weren't the only one that thought like that. And so, you know, I get a lot out of it as well.
That is fire. And absolutely true. It makes a lot of sense. Now I'm curious. How did you overcome that feeling of vulnerability, even that fear? You know what I mean? Not only just to assemble, a room full of black men to share and to connect, but also to be able to function consistently around large groups of people, to function consistently around, and gather people in rooms, put on a festival. You do a lot of things that allow you to be kind of interactive, and that has to have to help you. You had to have overcome like some of the mental issues, and some of the people to get there? How are you able to overcome those thoughts and those issues?
I'm thinking. G, update your calendar. Listen, Women with a Vision got a black-owned expo at the Bear Y with a show by Nick Snow. See the Reef, sing, play, or speak your piece. Tuesday nights, rock, roll, and soul open mic. Unlock your pitch potential with Bryce. Fender, learn how to make your business a competition winner. And if you need to make your record clearer, Delaware Center for Justice are having second chances discussions. Kima's Sound Healing Experience will be at the Artomat thanks to Wilmington Alliance and It's Business Time with Full Carbon at the Stitch House. Live music and small business owners giving tips out. Take a trip around the world through chocolate and beer. That's what we're doing with the buffet at Midnight Oil Brewing. At Milk and Honey, it's the Holy Mic with John Carr featuring D. Spence. Dylan Tucker's got laughs at the Reef. Joe the Boss, Malcolm Hill, Time to Joke and Eat. This week, hats off with G. Jones, Spending Black Matters. We got Nudie Felton. At the Palacio Event Center, it's good R&B. It's that Usher tribute karaoke. You see Black History Month Saturdays, UAE, presented by City Fest with Isaiah Lee. Black Spending Matters Marketplaces on the scene with DJ Tim Dog, since black is the new green. Opera Delaware has acute inflections with soulful sounds, love and laughs, truly a blessing. Mimosas and more with Kirsten Comedy Brunch Sundays at a Taste of New York. It's an open mic on IG. Poets Let Your Words Flow with Bonita Poetry and Tierra Nicole. Wanted to know what's going on? Well, there's your answer. Hit my inbox for sponsorship or to get your event on G Dash. Update your calendar.
Well, I'd say I haven't. Me personally, I become a better actor the older I get. So, I just go and pretend to be fine usually, but it gets easier. I say, like, the more I talk about it, I'm not going to sit here and say that I've gotten everything figured out. That's one of those things. Like, I don't feel comfortable in any crowd of any type of people. I don't feel comfortable in a crowd of white people, in a crowd of black people, or nothing. So, but I have a great public persona. So, I don't ever let anybody see any of that, because I'm usually working and stuff. So I don't have time to even really think about it too much. But no, I haven't overcome anything. I just fake it.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Being able to fake it you means you overcame enough to be around it, right? Being able to gather and galvanize a room full of black men that you admitted at some point you would be afraid of, right? Or at least nervous around.
Sure.
But instead of being nervous around them, hey, come here. So I whether you believe that you overcame, but you had to overcome some to be in that room. Not only be in that room, but to organize that room. Right? These are the things that just you should recognize, right? Because that is a step to being able to overcome anything. Because if you can't even get past it, you can't accept it, right? And a lot of times, you're already past the acceptance phase, which is phenomenal. Now, with that said, looking at it like that, there's a community impact that you wanted to have regardless of what traumas you might have had. There's a community impact that you want to have regardless of what you've been through. And that blatantly shows. Did that play a part into you connecting to the JayCees?
Yeah. So I met the JayCees because I was doing a live sound gig for one of my clients, Club Fred. We were doing a show at Battery Park, and it was a series. So I'm doing my networking thing. I go because at any show that we do, I want to know who's the promoter, who's throwing it, who's doing everything. I need to know all of these people, so I can reach out to them, let them know everything that I do, and try to do my networking thing. So I'm doing my thing. I go, I talk to the guy. I'm like, yo, like, who are you guys? Like, what's the company? What's the organization? All of that. So the guy tells me a little bit about it. He's like, yeah, we're the Wilmington JayCees. We do this event. We do the Christmas parade, and we have some other things that we do that is for leadership for people at the age of 18 to 40, people who want to learn leadership skills and development skills and all kind of stuff like that. And I was like, that sounds interesting. That kind of sounds like something that I would be interested in. So I'm talking to the guy about it. He introduced he invites me to a meeting. And so I go to one of the meetings and I meet the members and I see it's a very diverse group. There's some chicks there. It's some older guys. They got the older guys are above 40. They're just like honorary members and they don't vote or anything, but they still are members and they come and they help contribute and consult and everything. There were some younger guys. I mean, it was very diverse and I'm like I'm just sitting there observing, just being a fly on the wall and I'm listening to, all the stuff that they got to say and all the stuff that they're about and the programs that they're implementing. And I was like, okay, yeah, like, I want to know more about it. And they were really adamant about me joining. They're like, you should join. You seem like, like you're interested in doing stuff like this. Seems like something that you would want to do. So I ended up joining that day when I went to the meeting. And I just kept on going to the events and volunteering here and there, working at some of the events, and I really was like just liking the opportunities. And I even brought my cousin from Philly to come because he works. He does a lot of stuff for the city and like outreach stuff in Philadelphia, and I brought him and introduced him. So he's starting to do some work in Philadelphia with the company as well. So it's just like I started to grow with them, and it was like a really natural thing. And I started to realize because it's an international organization. So like I'm the vice president of the Wilmington chapter, but there is a state chapter, there's a regional chapter, there's a national chapter, and then international. So it's a worldwide thing. And I looked at this as an opportunity for me to learn some leadership skills, some just what I needed to know to be able to operate in this space, because this is like a new space that I'm not familiar in, and it would put me in a position to take it and make things and do things in an international level. Because I found out that a couple of our last presidents, they were members of the JayCees and stuff. So it just seemed like, you know, everybody who was in the JayCees, they ended up taking the opportunity and making themselves somebody out of it. So I wanted to do that for myself. So I joined, and I was there for about a year before they asked me to be the vice president.
How did you know that it would be a good fit? Like you being the vice president of the Wilmington chapter made sense for them and made sense for you. Like how did you know that was a match?
Well, what they have is they have they've been in a organization since 1930s. So they've been here. They got a good foundation, but after the pandemic, it appears that like they lost a lot of members, and a lot of the stuff that they were doing, it started to go down a little bit, because of the economy and everything that was going on. Like they had stopped charging for members and everything because they were having a hard time with membership and stuff. So, I think that we were bridging the gap because they needed somebody with who was ambitious, and they need somebody with who's kind of popular and who has some good ideas. I work with the community already doing a whole bunch of things, so it wasn't really nothing for me to just to take some of my connections from over here and my connections over here and bring them together, and just basically take what I was already doing but bring it under this umbrella under a foundation with tons and tons of experience and trust. There the organization gets contribution from the elected officials and the president and everything. So it's like, it was just a great opportunity to really make a difference, to utilize some of the resources that are out there to actually make a difference. Because like I said, as I'm out here working in the community, I see where the problems are. I see what people are kind of trying to do, and I see a lot of the cute shit that people come in, they get their grants, and they come in and they do all this cute stuff, and it's like, okay, well, that was $40,000 that went to and I'm not going to get into any details because I don't want to stir any pots or anything. But I just knew that I could make a difference in this position. So it was almost a no brainer. And uh, it was one of those things that the universe had presented to me. It wasn't like I was going out and seeking this thing. It was just like it kind of seemed like God was pushing me to do this. So I was just kind of following through.
Listen, talk about listening to your spirit, following the universe. I'm with you. Talking, letting God lead the way. I'm with you. I'm with it. I'm with it. So now, okay, yes, yes. So okay, so now in this direction that you're moving, right? You got these things going with the JayCees, and you're the vice president. What do you kind of think their impact will be moving forward for the Wilmington JayCees, and like what initiatives are you leading with them? Like how is that going to work?
So the main thing that I'm trying to focus on now is getting some of the trainings going, because like our like the main focus of the JayCees is to help young people with leadership and getting the skills to be able to operate in this space successfully. So like I really want to make sure that we are providing trainings, seminars, and resources for that type of development, and making some more connections with some of the other nonprofits that are out there. Me personally, my thing is mental health. So, like I'm doing my best to make some partnerships with some companies. Talking to some of the people at the Blue Shield, Christiana Care. Like we got a couple things going on already. One thing that we are absolutely in the process of working on now is helping people in the city provide or get free counseling, free therapy, and stuff like that. So just trying to just create as many opportunities for success as I can, or as we can as a collective.
That is dope. Listen, look at my whole inside just warm a little bit. Don't tell nobody. After that is great. Oh, that you changing the world and moving the needle. Shouts out. Okay, right now, and I applaud your vulnerability through this conversation. This has been such a great conversation to have. I asked this question out of all my guests, right? Because I'm very curious how you'll answer it. My question is, if you had to give advice to a younger version of yourself, but the year is still 2024. Okay, so it might be the version of you that I met, maybe even a little bit before then, whatever the case may be, but a younger version, a younger you, but the year is still 2024. What advice would you give a younger you in 2024?
I would say okay, so I'd have like two main things to tell myself. I would tell myself to be authentic, like to just be you. Like being you is fine. Like you don't have to be anybody else. Everybody's not going to like you, and that's okay. Some people are not going to get you. Most people are not going to get you. That's okay. I wish I could have just told myself, just be you, because I would have been able to practice being me. Instead of spending a decade being someone else, I would have spent a decade practicing being me, and I would have been much further. The other thing that I could say is be very cautious of your intentions, because I got myself into some situations in life that if I would have checked myself from the jump and realized that the reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to trying to overcompensate, or like make, like, I don't know, like I just wasn't exactly like clear with my intentions when I made actions. I would say, Dre, be intentional, and not only be intentional, be 100% aware of what those intentions are before you do anything, before you say anything. I think being authentic and being intentional. If I would have been able to tell my younger self that, by time you and I would have been having this interview, I would have accomplished significantly much more.
I'll take it. Although I applaud your current accomplishments, but I do want the world to know, because there is a younger version of Dre running around this world trying to figure it out. So whoever you are, be intentional, right? Boom, boom, right? And as well, and be authentic with who you are. I listen. Phenomenal, phenomenal. Oh man, this is dope. This was great. All
Say
right.
no to, and say no to drugs.
With that said, oh my God. So with that said, this is where we at. We are. Only you. All right. So now, I do a thing, and you do this. That's a perfect timing, actually. I do a thing where I tell people, if you give me a word, I give you a poem. Which, as long as I've known you, I don't think you have actually personally ever gave me a word, which makes this funny to me. You've seen me do it many a times, but you actually have never given me a word. So while you think of a word, I like to tell people again, this has been an amazing episode of Hats Off with G-Jones, and the amazing, wonderful, community servant, if you will, live production extraordinaire, and vice president of the Wilmington JayCees, Dre Corbett. Look for me. I have a competition on the 19th, virtual competition called Kings 24. I put the information on here. It's on Instagram, spoken word situation. Also, we got a couple of the shows happening, a couple live things happening. So just be on the lookout. And I do a thing called G Update Your Calendar, where I promote live events coming up, live and some virtual events coming up within the week. So if you have anything popping off, reach out to me. Maybe we can, I can add it to the lineup. All right. With that said, Dre, what word you got for me?
I just had it. Discover.
Okay. I'm thinking. All right. So sometimes I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find it. Like, when I thought that I had it, I would start to get excited, and then I would lose it again. What I mean is, I would look in the mirror, and who I was looking for would be the same thing that I would choose to ignore anytime that I felt way too bored or felt too unfulfilled. Then that's when I would refuse to be real. See, that's how I knew that it was real easy for me to allow my future to be sealed, as it would also be stilled, or should I say stolen. It was hard for me to always keep it rolling without knowing who I was supposed to be, losing myself in everybody because I thought that I was supposed to achieve whatever they told me I had to in order for them to be okay with their judgment of me. See, I wasn't equally as obsessed with making sure that I could guarantee that I was happy with me. I wasn't comfortable with what was in the mirror. I wasn't comfortable with what I could see. I wasn't comfortable with what I would think when I would close my eyes and embrace the things that would happen at night. Therefore, it was no surprise that I didn't even know me. And at that same point, it was no surprise that I couldn't truly control me. I was being pulled in a million other different directions, just ducking and running around from that next lesson that I probably should have embraced, because that would show me how to be what I'm supposed to be without getting lost in the chase. See, what I had to accept was that life is harsh, and sometimes it don't love you, but I can make sure that I love myself as long as I know myself. But that person takes a long time to discover. Boom. Well, listen, that was this conversation. This conversation did that. I know what you're thinking. This conversation did that. That was, yeah.
That was fire, bro, as always.
I appreciate you, man. Listen, I'm glad finally got you on. Listen, you was talking to me, we got you up here. Anything you would like to say to the people before we get out of here?
It is a beautiful Thursday to be Black.
I appreciate you, Trey. I agree. As always, love yourself and let everything fall into place. I see y'all next week. My guest is Nudie Felton. We talk about spending Black matters, right? We keeping it Black. All right. So that's it. This is hats off for G Dash Jones. I holla. Hey.